Let's talk about the offense that led to your probation.
It was armed robbery.
Okay, armed robbery. Now let's think back to what was going on in your life at the time of the robbery. Were you using? Were you having financial problems? Were you getting along with your partner?
No, things were going bad with my boyfriend. I hadn't worked in a long time and he was upset about it. He threatened to kick me out, and I was pissed.
Okay, let's put that here. These are the things that were going on in your life when the armed robbery occurred. It sounds like some things were not going well for you. Do you remember how you felt about these situations? What did all this make you feel?
Well, my boyfriend was making me feel really crappy, and I was pissed at him. He kept nagging me about money, so I decided I needed something to take the edge off. Once I was high, I started to feel a lot better.
So you were feeling some negative things, but in some ways you also felt good, especially when you were using drugs. Let's put those feelings in these boxes. You already mentioned how you started using to make yourself feel better about the fights you were having with your boyfriend. Let's put that here under coping. What other ways did you deal with everything that was going on? How did you cope with your situation?
I didn't stay at the house anymore. He was always yelling at me, so I had to stay away. I went drinking with my girls and only went home when he was out.
Okay, so you avoided going home and started meeting up with friends to drink. These are some other strategies you used to feel better about your situation, so we'll write those down here. Putting all that together so far, it sounds like you were having trouble at home and making ends meet. You were feeling upset, and you were using drugs and alcohol to help you deal with the situation. So now let's get to the armed robbery. At what point did you know you were going to do it? Did you decide a few days beforehand, or was it spur of the moment?
I really don't remember. We had been drinking, and next thing I know, we both got guns and were headed for the store.
Okay, you didn't plan it then. When the opportunity came up, you decided to go through with it without thinking it through. And can you remember what was going through your mind at that point? What were you telling yourself as you went about the crime, before and during?
I wasn't thinking. All I knew was I needed money, and my man kept nagging me, which did not help. Nobody else was helping fix the problem.
So, from what you remember, you were thinking about how having cash would solve your problems. And it sounds like you liked the idea of it happening right away. You didn't want to wait.
Yeah, I guess that's about right.
Good. I'm glad I'm understanding you correctly. Okay, one last question to help us put all the pieces together. After the robbery was over, what was going through your mind then?
I was pissed I got caught. Plus, you know those stores are insured anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Okay, so it sounds like you thought that the robbery wasn't a big deal, as if everyone could afford to ignore what happened. Let's put it all together now. I'd say we have a pretty clear picture of what was going on at the time of the robbery. First, it seems like you were having some pretty rough difficulties and challenges going on in your life. You didn't feel good about what was going on. Next, it seems like you dealt with these situations and feelings by putting yourself in circumstances where an opportunity to commit crime would probably come up, hanging out in rough places with criminal friends. So, when the right opportunity happened, you already had lots of reasons you felt like it was okay to go ahead with the crime, and afterwards you came up with reasons why you thought you weren't responsible for it. So, what I want to do for the rest of our time together today is think about how to avoid going down this same path again. Starting at the beginning of this arrow, what could you do differently if you found yourself in the same difficult spot again? What better choices could you make? Let's brainstorm some ideas together.